Welcome to Community News Media. My name is Lori Nussbaum, and we are here today for another episode of Pickleball. Before we start, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Coral Reef Medical Supply. They are located at 14307 South Dixie Highway, and they are going to be giving away 15% for the rest of the month on anything you need medical equipment wise. So they also sell pickleball socks. So today my guest is Elise Ivy, and she is with ROKNE Paddles.
That's right. That's right.
Did I get that right?
Almost. But we actually have a joke that we really enjoy asking people, hey, try to say it. But we say ROKNE, and we like to say we're going to rock the ROKNE.
Okay.
But we hear all kinds of pronunciations, so we fully accept ROKNE as well.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So Elise, tell me a little bit about what you do, how you got here. Let me just first say that, I know we met playing together.
I know.
So
the irony, right?
That's the irony of this whole thing. So tell me how you got to pickleball. Tell us your journey.
My journey isn't unlike many people's journey, actually. I started playing during the pandemic. So, I was that person that always enjoyed group activities, and all of a sudden, that was cut off from all of us, right? I would go to fitness classes in groups. I would go to yoga in a group setting. And I noticed I wasn't really great at continuing that exercise journey on my own. And it just wasn't very motivating in my living room, let's be honest. And my brother said to me, so he lives in New York, and at the time I was living in Philadelphia. And he reached out to me and said, you should try pickleball. And I said, what's that? I never, kind of like what most people say,
you
right?
You were living in Philadelphia.
I didn't
What was
know.
pickleball?
I didn't know. I was in my own little world, And he said, well, it's a great way to be social and yet socially distant. And I thought, I'll give it a try. But my fear was, I was never a good tennis player. I'm not going to be great at this. But that didn't really matter. What mattered was getting outside, enjoying being with people, and being safe at the same time. So I went out to play pickleball, and I bought a couple of paddles. And as you know, there's indoor and outdoor balls. And I was the person that brought the indoor balls to the outdoor court because I didn't know anything about this.
Know.
Oh, okay.
So you mentioned the indoor outdoor. We'll have to get back to that.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Because I was using I think the indoor ball the other day, but we'll talk about that.
Oh, and you know what? Once you start feeling the difference, you'll be able to spot it in no time. So I'll give you a little pickleball education on that. But I was the same. Yeah. I didn't know much about the paddle. It was my first time. So I went out and I was playing with friends, and I thought, I like this. Like, this is really, really fun. And you can feel that community vibe when you're out there, and people are so nice. They become friends even when they're competitors, like we were.
Absolutely.
And so anyway, I got off the court and I called my brother and I said, I'm in. Like, I love this pickleball thing. It's really fun. And I said, but I'm going to look for a better paddle. And by better, yes, I meant better in performance, but I also meant better looking, because I noticed that a lot of the paddles, I just didn't really appreciate the aesthetic. I thought they all kind of looked the same. There was like this sea of like black and gray, and it just, I don't know, it wasn't very inspiring to me. And that's when I noticed there was a lack of, I thought, really pretty paddles. And so we set out to create our own, and that's actually how we started the business, as a brother-sister team. And
you brought all these paddles?
We brought a whole bunch to show. I mean, this isn't even all of them, but this is kind of where we got started. And you can see this is like our classic design, our signature design, right? It's called the Curve Classic, so you can see the curve on it. And we made this one in 6 different colors. And then we've now since created 3 different levels of paddles as well, and then some specialty ones.
But how do you know, like, you created these paddles?
Yeah.
What is that? What makes a good paddle? What is the curve? What's the difference between that and the specialty paddles?
Well, so there's a lot of differences in paddles. And at the end of the day, like I always relate it to wine, how they say, sure, there's really fancy wine, right? That should be
Right.
great, but it really depends on your palate. So I've heard sommeliers say, well, a great glass of wine is the wine that you like. And that's actually how I feel about pickleball paddles as well. So for example, this one is a fiberglass paddle that has a nice gritty texture, and you'll have that gritty texture so that you can create spin with the ball, which if you're like myself, I didn't come from tennis. I don't naturally have a lot of spin, so I'll take all the help I can get
Right,
and then
right.
cross my fingers and hold my breath at the same time.
Don't say that because you're a really good player.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But so anyway, this is the first paddle that we came out with. It's 13 millimeters in thickness, and it has a really, really large sweet spot. And what that means is that if the ball hits here, you're going to have a similar result as if the ball
hits in the
hit
middle.
here where it should hit, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we a lot of times will say that this is a great paddle for beginners and intermediate, but with that being said, we even have some advanced players that play with this paddle, and a lot of our pros like to play with it when it's windy because the ball really explodes and pops off this paddle. So here's what I would say to somebody. If you're an advanced player, but you like that extra pop off the paddle, then
Right.
this is the right paddle for you. If you don't, if you want something that's more built on precision and control and like gripping the ball and truly spinning the ball
Right.
and, power, then maybe you want to go with something like this, which is our carbon paddle. So again, it's going to be a different material that it's made out of, so it will produce a different result. And again, that's going to be based on your preference as a player.
What type of result would the carbon paddle give you versus
A fiberglass
the
paddle?
fiberglass
Yep.
paddle?
So the fiberglass paddle, and this is actually the one that I still use. I've been using my exact same paddle for a year. I brought it with me, as a matter of fact. I feel like I go everywhere with it
Right,
now.
right.
I gotta let it go, Lori.
Right, right.
But the fiberglass paddle definitely is going to have more pop and explosion off the paddle.
Right.
I don't generate necessarily a lot of power within myself. Like I said, I didn't come from tennis or a racket sport, so I like that explosion off the paddle. This one, this is the carbon, if you generate a lot of power, this is going to give you more of a precision play. So I would say that most of the time, the more
Right.
advanced players are reaching for a carbon face paddle.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
So now, do you do these paddles? How long have you been doing this now?
So actually, this is our year anniversary, November.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's unbelievable. And then you have shirts and your
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah, we're getting there.
you're-
Well, I'll tell you something that was interesting. So we just set out to make the paddles. This is my personal favorite. It's called Electric Citrus. I love the colors in this one. We've done some specialty paddles. This one was made for Saks.
For
Fifth
Saks, I was
Avenue.
gonna say.
Yeah. And we just
Saks
love
Fifth
it.
Avenue.
Incredible, right? That they're picking
Unbelievable.
up pickleball.
That's great.
But what we noticed was that when people would start purchasing the paddle, they wanted to be fully branded, which was something that we didn't expect.
Right.
So all of our focus and attention was on the engineering of the paddle, was on the creation, was on the durability of the paddle. And then we would get these calls like, well, I don't want to pull a ROKNE paddle out of an XYZ bag. Where are your bags? And we thought, oh gosh, bags.
Right.
So
Right,
we kind of had to
exactly.
pivot and create a full fleshed out
So
line.
like the paddles that one would buy at Dick's, for
Mhm.
instance, the head, I think they're the starter paddles. Is that comparable to these paddles? Or
Well, I would say that it's, I know which paddles you're talking about, and Head has a really nice line of paddles, and they have a very wide range of paddles.
Right.
But I think that that would probably be more of a starter paddle than, say, one of our Curve Classics.
And how much are your paddles?
So our Curve Classic is $89.99, which is extraordinarily reasonable for a pickleball paddle, as you know.
Right.
And then we actually created the paddle called the Curve Apex, which is also a fiberglass paddle. It does not have the gritty texture on it. It's called a micro weave. You can kind of hear
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
there. So the texture is built into the fiberglass. This paddle's $129, and then our carbon paddles, which you can see here, these retail at $179. So, based on what they're made out of is basically how they're priced.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So, okay, so you told us a little bit about, or a lot about, the paddles and
Yeah.
how you got here. So, what did you do before this?
Yeah, so my brother and I started the company together, but we both kind of have interesting backgrounds. So he is an attorney by trade, and he worked at a like a real estate company as an attorney. He's a smart cookie, you know. He's a Yale and London School of Economics
Wow.
graduate. I know.
Impressive.
I know. I'm very impressed by his resume, and he always says, "Stop it. He's he's so modest."
Is he here?
No, he's in New York.
He's in New York.
He's in upstate New York. So they're in Rochester, which is actually one of the ways that we got the name ROKNE, because they call it the Rock.
Okay.
And
I love that.
yeah.
I love that.
And we kind of use that play on words. And then I come from a marketing and sales background. I was a QVC host for 6.5 years. And
which is so interesting.
I know, and such a different,
yes, exactly.
You know.
Well, it helps you marketing the paddles.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all inclusive.
Absolutely. Well, I warned Lori ahead of time. I said, I know I talk a lot, but that's because that's what I did for a living for a long time. So, you know, I found it really interesting at QVC. I loved marketing other people's products, and I loved rooting for the entrepreneur. And I mean, it was really,
the
really
next
special.
Shark Tank.
I know, right? Wouldn't that be great? So, you know, when it was our turn to do it, I just kind of took a lot of lessons that I learned along the way with marketing, and that I had learned from the people that I was helping sell their product, and took those and applied them to ROKNE.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, do you play?
I do.
You play a lot.
I do. I am a 100% recreational player, though.
No, that's not true.
Okay,
a
little tournaments. Little tournaments.
Good. You're playing all over at Tropical and
Yes.
all the different. Do you bring your paddles to Broward County, everywhere?
Yeah, pretty much anywhere anyone will play with me, I'm happy to play with you. I mean, I think that's the beauty of pickleball, right? Is you show up and you make friends. And
Well, exactly.
That's-
We're trying to make it so that everyone in Miami can play
right.
everywhere, and that we can get more courts, and it's much more because it's for everyone.
It's for everyone. And actually, you know, I'm so glad that this is kind of where I landed, if you will,
Yes.
because to be somewhere from the ground up with pickleball is really exciting. And we don't take a single court for granted here in Miami. So, you know, every time we
Yeah.
get one court or even lines drawn on a tennis court, it's a big
deal.
celebration.
It's like we're so excited.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's a team effort too.
Right. It's totally a team effort. And it's so much fun in the sense that everyone, it's like a community. And everyone is you meet people.
Yeah.
You network. You know, so many different people. So
Well, I'll tell you something. You know, when I moved down here, truth be told, I moved to Miami for my fiance. So
okay.
we were long distance when I was in Philadelphia for QVC, and he was here. Excuse me. He's been here 25 years.
Is he a pickleball player?
He is now. Yes, he is now. He is now.
Did we convert him?
Yes, absolutely. And he loves it. He loves it. But I said to him, you know, when I was moving, I said, I've moved a lot in my life, but I am a little fearful in my 40s of moving and working. You know, I work for myself now.
Right.
Every time I'd moved in the past, I would move and you'd have a group of friends built in from whatever your work environment was.
Right.
Well, never in a million years did I think that my work environment would now be all my friends from the court.
Absolutely.
And I mean, there's no shortage of friends. There's no shortage of support system when you join a pickleball community. It's incredible.
Right. And just to segue a little, I mean, we're doing so much more in the community with helping out. I mean, all different charities, different groups of people. You were telling me before the show that you just did a nonprofit event.
Yes, we worked with Breakthrough Miami, which is a really incredible organization. You could check it out online for sure, but they actually help kids stay in school all the way from elementary school up through college. And yeah, we didn't host the event, but we were the paddle company that was there representing pickleball, and it was, I mean, it means a lot to us to be able to do something like that.
And we're constantly doing all these different things in the community. I know we're getting ready to do something with Chapman Partnership, you know, to help to have a fundraiser so that they can build pickleball courts and help a community. And that's what it's all about.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
And it also shows you it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your walk of life. It doesn't matter your socioeconomics. Pickleball is something that everybody should be able to play. And truthfully, I mean, this is one of the reasons why we kept this paddle under $90. And I'm not kidding. It's because we feel that some of the prices are inflated. And it's
Right.
really, really important to us to know that that there's something out there that's actually quality that's under $100.
And the cool thing about it is you're only playing, the only cost is the paddle.
Is the paddle. That's right.
That's
Especially
really
if we
the-
can keep our
Yes.
courts open to everybody.
Let me ask you a question. The balls. You were going to
Yeah,
talk about the
yeah.
indoor, outdoor. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Okay, it's super simple. So it's actually easier when you hold an indoor and an outdoor ball. I have an outdoor ball. Do you want me to show you?
Sure,
Okay. I
yes.
don't have an indoor ball with me, but I've got a bag of goodies down here with an outdoor ball.
And then why is it that I always see everyone uses a yellow ball? Why not?
Maybe
pink
it's
and
easier to
orange?
see. I don't
Okay,
know.
I was
That's a good
curious about-
question.
I was just wondering that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Dare I say this looks like a tennis ball color, you know? I don't know. So you can see this one's loved. It had our name ROKNE on it. But what you'll notice is that the
Yeah.
holes are small. And when you get an indoor ball, the holes are big.
And this looks like a wiffle ball. For
Yeah.
those of you, that's what
It's
that's
a wiffle
basically
ball,
what you're
yeah.
playing with. Yeah.
Yeah, it basically is. And, this is that's the sound you'll hear if you know a pickleball court is around,
Exactly.
But I will say the carbon paddles are a little quieter. You can actually hear the difference.
We'll test that one out. Okay.
Yeah.
So now wait, let me see this. This is the indoor.
Outdoor.
The outdoor. Okay.
The holes are nice and small. And that's because, when you're in a windy environment, if you
Right.
have the bigger holes, then of course the wind is really grabbing that wiffle ball because you know how hard it is to play
Yeah.
in the wind.
Yeah.
It's a light ball.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know because I was told the other day, you can't be playing with that ball. I was like, why? It's the same. So-
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I always say if you're just out having fun on the courts and you're playing rec
Exactly.
play, just go out and have fun, and we don't need to be too serious about anything. But if you're in a tournament, yes, you need to play with the
you
right
need
ball.
to play exactly. Exactly.
And they normally they'll normally say this is the ball we're playing with, and so you don't really have a choice anyway.
Right. Right. I think now our biggest the biggest problem that we're having is the court and the lights on the court.
You're right, with daylight
We're-
savings especially.
Yeah, this is something that we need to get.
It's
And we're-
so true. I don't know. Do you know the number of courts that we actually have with lights? Because I know we have 4 at Tropical.
we have 4. Yes, we're trying to get more.
That's right.
We're trying to get more.
That's right. We even have, beautiful courts. There's 6 courts in Miami Beach, but even those don't have lights.
in Miccosukee.
In Miccosukee, that's right. Yeah. We've got little
Um,
courts scattered around.
yes,
Miami-Dade College now has 4 courts.
right. And then there's the Water Oaks.
Water
We're trying
Oaks,
to
that's
get-
right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the bottom line is, and we play at Salvation Army.
That's right.
Which has been amazing. There are blended lines, but
Mhm.
it's a wonderful community.
Right. And I play at
Um,
Riviera often.
Riviera's great. I
Yeah,
love
no
Riviera.
lights, but we love
Yeah,
love
we're
it.
playing
It's
in the
absolutely
dark.
beautiful. We're playing in the dark. That's right. That's right.
And when it's raining.
That's true. I know. Which you should never do. If you're starting pickleball, don't listen to us. Don't play in the dark
Exactly.
or in the rain.
You don't want to get hurt.
It's not
because
safe.
People do say, what is the difference between, explain the game. Like, what's the difference between pickleball and tennis, for instance?
Well, if I'm being very honest with you,
Yes.
I wish I knew more of the differences, but I wasn't a tennis player. So I think I think sometimes it's to my detriment because I don't have that built-in incredible swing. But sometimes I think it's to my advantage because I don't have any bad tennis
you don't
habits.
have any. Exactly. That's true. Or racquetball. What about racquetball?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
What about
Okay.
you? Do you know?
All right. So I'll just say, yeah, I play tennis.
Okay.
I actually find that this game is a much more. You have to think about it. You have to think about
Okay.
where you're placing the ball. Scoring is a lot different.
Scoring is actually challenging.
And you're playing on a shorter court, so
Right.
I think it's just much more interaction. Plus the meeting people. The game is much quicker.
Mhm.
Whereas in tennis, you go with your 4 people and that's it.
Yeah.
This is different.
I've also heard from a lot of people that say, oh, because the court is smaller and you're closer to your opponent, there's actually a lot of like friendly interaction, so it's easier to become friends. I mean,
Yes.
in tennis, you are much further away. But I love that you brought up the scoring. And the scoring is so, well, first of all, in singles, it's manageable, right? But in doubles, it's actually kind of challenging. So there's this joke at one of the courts I play at. When we get there in the morning, all the women say, "Did you take your magnesium?" Because you have to remember the score. It really challenges your mind.
I always tell people that when I started playing at the Salvation, I think I've been playing now maybe a year, but there was a man there. I can't remember his name. I didn't take my magnesium this morning. But he, it started out, you know, there were a lot of older people there, and everyone jokes, older people play, even though now a lot of the young people are playing and kids are playing. And but this gentleman was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and he was an amazing player. And the cool thing about it, he couldn't keep score. But he played, he hit the ball. I mean, his precision was unbelievable.
Good for him.
Of course, after I'd see him leave, I would see him drive away. See, like, that's not a good thing.
That's another story for another day.
That's a whole other story, yes.
No, but that's wonderful. And, you know, I found that, again, you know, that's one of the benefits is that this is a sport that you can start at any age.
Yes.
You'll find people to play with at any skill level. I think it's, I mean, I was a little intimidated at first, but it's such a welcoming community, and everybody was that new person at one point, and so they have that sensitivity and say, you know, come on into my game and I'll teach you. But it's great for cognitive skills. It's great for reflexes, obviously for getting outside, getting exercise. Yeah. I call it my stress reliever. I mean, it's truly what I do when I need to get away from the computer and whatnot.
Yes.
Go play.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
What is there something you want to tell our audience or your audience and let everyone know?
Yes, my
how
goodness.
They can find you.
Please, yes. Well, first of all, we did a discount code for anybody watching, so it's just community 10. And that'll be 10% off anything on our website. You can find us at ROKNE Pickleball. It's ROKNE, so you can drop the C.
It's not ROKNE.
But you can pronounce it however you wish, but spell it ROKNE Pickleball. And you can find us on all of the social media channels. So we're very active on Instagram, Facebook. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest. We're everywhere. So, you know, just come say hi. And, you know, if you see another person wearing ROKNE on the court or with their paddle, especially around the Miami area, chances are I know them. I can tell you that they're a great person and they'll let you borrow their paddle and try it out. But I'm always bopping around too to the different courts. So if you ever see me, of course, you know, come say hi and we'll get you testing out some paddles.
Do you don't have an actual store, do you?
No, we don't. We are 100% online.
Wow.
And retail, though. We're in a lot of retailers. So,
where are some of the retailers?
Well, we mentioned Saks. Saks is online.
Yes.
That's all online right now.
That's a pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal. We were blown away. Well, first of all, we were the first pickleball brand that they had at all in their store. We were just blown away in general that Saks was interested in pickleball. And then we found out that one of their head buyers is a big pickleball player and thought, aha, there we go.
That's what happens when somebody is a big pickleball player or interested in it. It's like, it's a game changer.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happening in Miami as well with just, you know, all of the press that we've been getting. But so we're in a bunch of country clubs throughout the U.S. Soon we're going to be launching in Europe, and we do already sell in Canada and Mexico as well. Lots of places, lots of pickleball stores, pretty much all of the major online pickleball retailers, and then Amazon, of course, Walmart, of course.
In the tennis stores and.
We're in quite a few tennis stores. Still trying to get into some of them here in Miami. I jump in all the time and say hello. I go buy all my rest of my gear there, my shoes, my over grips, and then I say, "Are you ready to carry pickleball paddles?" So they're getting there. I think as you know, there's lots of conversations around can tennis and pickleball coexist, and I do see a lot of working together these days. And starting off with the retail stores, actually.
Yes.
I'll tell you something really interesting though. This paddle, we have 6 colors in this paddle. I don't know. You have to tell me what you think about this, but this paddle does really well in surf shops.
Really?
Isn't that funny? It's kind of like
That's
that
interesting.
cool
Yeah.
like
Well,
lifestyle vibe,
right,
you know.
Right.
So anyway, we're in lots of surf shops.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I
That's
know.
wonderful.
Who knew,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something I don't know.
I didn't know either. I remember the first time a surf shop called us, we were like, okay. And then it worked.
And you know what? Pickleball and tennis, they should coexist.
They should.
Because no one's saying tennis should go away,
Right.
but pickleball should definitely be here to stay, and it is here to stay.
I think so. You know, there's a lot of discussion about is it a fad, and I don't think so. It's been
No.
around since the 60s, and it's just gained
And-
incredible momentum.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Elise, for being here today. We want to have you back again.
I'd love to be back. I'd love to go
Um,
play too.
Well, definitely.
Mhm.
I'll definitely see you out on the courts.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us and Community News Media and for this segment of our pickleball show.
Thank you.